Grace and peace to all who do the will of our Father in heaven. I have like three different subjects that I kind of want to touch on, and I'm not going to be getting like in depth about Bible prophecy and things like that, but I do have some ideas that I just kind of just want to toss out there. The first one is about the beast's the name of blasphemy on the head of the beast. And I was wondering, now I do believe that the beast is a person, and I don't doubt that the beast could also be an entire kingdom and government as well. So I mean, there's always, not always, but there's often more than one fulfillment of a prophecy. And so I was, I was thinking Revelation 2:9 and was it 3:19? I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I think Revelation 2:9 for sure, where Jesus Christ says that I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan. So Jesus Christ said, or Yahweh Shai said, that it's blasphemy for people to claim that they are Jews or Israelites if they're not. Or what's the Paleo Hebrew? I think it's Yahweh. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yahweh. So it's blasphemy to claim that you're that and you're not. Why? It's because that is because his name is on those people. Yahweh, right? Yahweh, that's his name. So for a kingdom ruled by people who claim to be the Most High's people, that will kind of fit the beast with the name of blasphemy on it or on his head. I can't remember the exact verse. I should have read the exact verse before I started this recording. Like I said, I just wanted to toss some thoughts out there, just things for people to mull about. So is this beast a I gotta be careful with my words here. Is it a Revelation 2:9 beast? Maybe. So the other thing that I wanted to cover is when Daniel, I can't remember which verse it is, but where you have the statue that is it has the head of gold, the chest of silver, the legs of brass, and the thighs of brass, and the legs of iron, which is Rome. And the feet, in the feet you have the iron and the miry clay mixed. And iron, of course, like I already said, is Rome, and the clay. At first, well, I know most people think of it as human because, or Israel, because they are the clay on the potter's wheel. They are, our Father in heaven is the potter, and they were the clay. But I had also thought that maybe it could just represent people in general and be sort of the religious side of the Catholic Empire. So you have the state, and then you have the church, and a lot of those tend to get blurred. The lines between those get blurred, just like in America, where you have quote God and country unquote. It's there's no separation of church and state. People worship their God or who they think is God, and they worship their president, like Trump. But let's just say that the clay does represent Israel. Now, when we get to the verse where it says, "And whereas thou saw the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of man." I know it has been also popularly taught that the iron was angels, and that the angels were going to mingle themselves with the seed of man. Now, I was kind of leaning towards that too for a while, but now I'm thinking that the iron, it really is still Rome. That the meaning hasn't changed. That's still Rome. So what it's saying is that Israel, the miry clay, is going to mix with Rome, and for the almost their whole entire history, the Most High has told His people not to take wives from the nations, not to take wives from the Gentiles, because they were going to lead them away from Him. They were going to seduce them away. So it was always he was always commanding them to put away the strange wives and to not take wives from their daughters and to not give their daughters to the nations for wives. He was against the mingling. But during this last captivity, where the 10 toes are, Israel is in its last captivity. The angel is telling Daniel that Israel is going to mingle with the seed of men. They're going to mingle with the Romans. And that has happened. But he said they will not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So you have African Americans in America and possibly Europe as well, who are, I'm just speaking of the more Roman nations. And yeah, they're mingling, right? But they're not cleaving. That means they're not becoming one people. They're still separated people. And so I think that is the actual fulfillment of the prophecy, that they would mingle and have children and intermarry. And because why? Because they forgot who they were. They forgot that they were Israel. The commandment was always to not mingle, but they lost their identity. They lost their heritage, and because the Father took it away from them. And so without that knowledge of knowing who they are and thinking that their history began on a slave ship and they don't know anything before that, then they didn't know that they were not supposed to mingle. And so that's why they mingled. But they didn't become one people, like I said, because you still have two distinct peoples in this country, even though you have a lot of biracial or interracial people as well. You know, it's a melting pot, basically. So, yeah, that was the other thing that was on my mind. So the third thing, the last thing, I better wrap this up because I don't want to be too long out here. So Cat Williams is, well, I'm not sure about Cat Williams. I know a lot of people are saying that he's exposing people, he's exposing this and that. But if it's one thing I have learned, especially after the Kanye business, and I don't know how, yeah, I'll just say Kanye and Kyrie as well, is that you are only, you will only say what you are allowed to say. There is a certain point or a certain line that you will not cross. And until you cross that line, you're not really free. And there's, you know, and I'm not saying that any of these people are good people, even if they do tell the truth about anything, because all of them, I don't know about Cat's personal life, but I know Ye and Kyrie are dangerous to follow. They are. I would not take any spiritual advice from those people at all. They are dangerous to follow. But I don't know Cat's personal religious standing or anything like that. I do know though that he is saying what he is allowed to say, and people are treating it like these are big revelations. But most of us knew, not most of us, some of us knew this stuff because from back in the years when he used to talk about when he first had that stand up talking about he was looking into a room and seeing stuff going on in these rooms. But this is that's the entertainment industry, and the sports industry is part of that. So the athletes know about it too. They all engage in that stuff. And the thing is, though, like I said in the video about TD, I believe I said it. They are exposing, first of all, black men, or he is. And a lot of that is because, number one, judgment begins in the house of the Lord, a house of the Most High, Yah. And then, second, it's because they're cannon fodder, basically. No, they're inconsequential if you take these men down, especially, black people, because it just makes their image look worse in the public eye. Everybody looks at them and says, wow, they're such deviants, They're such deviant people. So it's okay to throw them out there and throw them under the bus like that. So Cat is like, he's still serving his master. And he's not breaking free from the plantation. He's not, going off script. Believe me, he would never be able to go on Shay Shay or whatever you call it. It sounds kind of sus to me. But anyway, he'd never be able to go on that channel or program and really go off script. He is allowed to say certain things, and he only said what he was allowed to say. So if you're playing in a sandbox, you're like, oh, I'm free because I'm free to do whatever I want in this sandbox. Well, you are not free to leave that sandbox. So are you really free? No, you're not. So he's just this is a fake a fake disclosure, a fake exposure where they give the appearance that things are being revealed, but really nothing changes. Nothing changes. Everything just goes back to the way it was. And then the stuff with Epstein, yeah, they released the list. Some of that stuff we already knew. Some of those people we know. Some names we didn't know. But again, what changes? And then after the amount of time that they take to release this so-called list that they have, it's been thoroughly sanitized. It's been thoroughly curated. I don't know if that's the right word, but you're not going to get anything that's really... Anybody who ever goes down is somebody who is just expendable. That's it. Maybe they'll make a big sacrifice sometimes, but for the most part, it's just going to be expendable people. Nothing's going to change. None of the important people behind the scenes who are probably of Revelation 2:9 affiliation or just plain white are going to really, those people in influence are really going to be impacted. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately. So anyway, I got to bring this video to a close and get back to work. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you later.